notice how quiet it gets when the power dies? Not just the lights, everything. No fridge hum, no phone buzz, no cars outside, just silence. And then, if you're unlucky, chewing. Look, I don't know who's gonna hear this. If anyone's left, I don't even know what hour it is anymore. Feels like I've been running for days, but it hasn't even been half a day. Not since it all started. Not since the first scream I heard outside my window at 5:17 a.m. I didn't even check at first. I thought it was a domestic, maybe a mugging. I remember thinking, Jesus, someone's starting their Tuesday like that. Then I went back to making coffee. I stirred in sugar while someone bled out in the street. I need you to hear me now. Everything you think you know about surviving this kind of thing is wrong. This isn't a movie. There's no build-up, no slow descent into chaos. It's just normal 1 second and gone the next. I had Spotify playing. I was brushing my teeth, and then the sirens started. The real sirens. The ones that shake your bones when they pass. Emergency alert system hit my phone. Garbled nonsense. Words like biological threat and shelter in place. I looked out the window again, and I saw 3 people sprinting, not running, sprinting. Arms flailing. One of them tripped, and the others didn't even look back. That's when I saw the first one. He was hunched like his spine had collapsed, barefoot, blood on his chin, shirtless even though it was 42 degrees out, and he was fast. He lunged at the guy who fell, and God, the sound it made when his teeth hit skin. It wasn't human. I froze, just stood there, mug still in my hand. That's when I knew. This wasn't a riot, wasn't terrorism, wasn't a drill. This was the end of the world, and I was wearing pajama pants. 12 hours. That's how long I've lasted. And I've seen things, done things that I'm never gonna forget. But I'm still breathing, so maybe that counts for something. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I made it this far. Every mistake, every near death, every single rule I didn't know I was breaking until I saw someone else die for it. These aren't just tips. They're the only reason I'm not one of them. Let's start with the first one, because if you're still watching this, you're already running out of time. Tip 1. If they're running, you're already too loud. You ever hear a car crash from inside your house? That crunch of metal and glass, that half second where your brain's trying to decide if it was thunder or something worse? That's what it sounded like when I first heard them hit the storefront glass. I was across the street. There was this bakery, little mom and pop place, used to always smell like burnt cinnamon. I'd taken shelter behind a UPS drop box after the second wave of screams started. Thought I was being smart. Out of sight. Out of mind. Right? That's when I heard it. Smash. Not a gunshot. Not thunder. Just impact. Followed by screaming. Then running. I peeked out. Just for a second. They were sprinting, all of them. The infected. Zombies, if you want to call them that. I don't even care anymore. They don't stumble. They don't groan and drag one leg. That's movie crap. These things move like every joint's dislocated and they don't feel a damn thing. I watched one barrel straight through a glass door without even slowing down. Shards stuck in his arms, neck, face. Didn't matter. He kept going. kept chasing. They're not just fast, they're chaotic. They run into traffic, through fences, over people. I saw one slam into a stop sign and snap its own arm backwards, and it still got back up like it was nothing. And the worst part? They don't run toward people. They run toward sound. Gunshots, crying, footsteps, a phone buzzing on a table. That's all it takes. If you're making noise, if you're breathing too loud near a broken window, they will come. Not one, dozens, like fire ants spilling out of a crack in the wall. You want to stay alive in those first hours? Shut the hell up. Don't call out. Don't bang on doors. Don't yell for help. Don't shoot unless you have to. And if you do, move. The second that shot rings out, they'll be on you like wet paint. I made that mistake once. Kicked over a trash can when I tried to climb over a fence. Metal on concrete. It echoed. 20 seconds later, I saw a shadow bolt around the corner, then another, then 5 more. I didn't have a weapon, just a screwdriver and a backpack full of granola bars. I had to crawl under a delivery truck and lie face down in the oil and gravel while they tore apart the alley. You ever hold your breath while something sniffs the air 3 feet from your shoe? I stayed like that for an hour. So listen close. If you hear them running, you're not being careful enough. And if you're the one running, you'd better hope something louder's nearby. Tip 2. The bitten lie. I want to tell you something that's gonna hurt. You can't save them. The ones who get bit. Not even if you love them. Especially not if you love them. Because the bitten lie. I didn't get this tip from the news or some survival blog. I learned it on the floor of a grocery store, hiding between 2 stacks of broken cereal boxes, while a man I thought I could trust bled out next to me and told me, swore to me, he was fine. His name was Nate. We worked together, warehouse guys, overnight crew. He was a smart ass, always talking about zombie movies, weird conspiracy crap. First one to laugh, last one to run. He got separated from his girlfriend in the first hour, and I found him later crouched behind the deli counter, holding a wrench like it was a holy relic. We stuck together for about 2 hours. 2 hours, that's all. It felt like a lifetime at the time. At some point, he started sweating hard. I mean, dripping, breathing heavy. I thought it was panic. I told him to sit down. He did, and then he rolled up his sleeve. The bite was on his forearm, deep, like something had clamped on, shaken, and torn away. You could see exposed tendon. It wasn't fresh either. It had already gone purple around the edges. I asked him when it happened. He didn't answer, just looked down and muttered, I didn't think it was bad. That's when I got up and backed away. He begged me not to go, said he'd be fine, said we'd find antibiotics, maybe a hospital. He kept trying to talk like it was still fixable, like he had time. I think, deep down, he knew he didn't. But people don't want to die. They don't want to be alone. So they lie. And if I'd believed him, if I'd stayed, I'd be dead. Because he turned in less than 20 minutes. No warning, no dramatic twitching, no screams. 1 minute he was breathing heavy, head down. The next I heard his hand slap the tile behind me as he lunged. I ran, didn't look back. I don't even remember what aisle I turned down. All I know is I heard that same wrench hit the ground, then chewing. So here's the truth. People who get bit won't always tell you. And if they do, they'll say it's nothing. They'll lie because they don't want to believe it either. Trust your gut, not their voice. And if you see teeth marks, walk away, even if it kills you to do it, because staying will get you killed a lot faster. Tip 3. If they drop, make sure they stay down. I get it. You see one of those things go down, and for a second you think it's over. That second can get you killed. Because here's the hard rule. If they drop, make sure they stay down. I didn't at first, not the first time. It was in a gas station. I'd gone in for water, maybe a map. The power was already out, and the inside was dark, just red exit signs and the light coming through broken windows. I had this crowbar I found near a construction site. Still had bits of dried concrete on it. I'd never used it on anything alive before. There was one inside, just one. He was dragging his leg a little, swaying like he was drunk, blood all over his chin, no shirt, bare feet. You know the kind. He saw me, locked eyes, then screamed. I didn't even know they could scream like that, like metal tearing. He charged fast. I swung the crowbar and hit him square across the neck. It made this disgusting crack, and he went down hard, face first into a candy rack. Didn't move, and I thought that was it. I stepped over him. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to see who he was. Maybe I thought I'd done something right. I got about 2 steps past when I heard the scrape. Just one sound, his nails on tile. He grabbed my ankle, didn't even lift his head, just snapped toward my leg like a crocodile, missed by an inch. I fell hard, slammed my elbow on the tile, dropped the crowbar. He started crawling, fast. I kicked him in the face 3 times before I got to the crowbar. I didn't even aim the next hit. I just swung, like I wanted him to stop existing. Blood hit the ceiling. He twitched twice, then nothing. You don't know fear until you've got something chewing air at your calf, and you don't know if your shoe is thick enough. From then on, I hit every single one twice, minimum. If they're still moving, I don't stop swinging. Headshots are the only thing that really puts them down. Not the chest, not the gut, not even the neck sometimes. I saw one crawling with half its throat missing, still chomping. Movies lied to us. There's no one-liners, no perfect shots, no time to think. You swing or shoot or stab, and then you do it again. Because sometimes they fake it, not on purpose, not like they're smart, but because their bodies don't work right anymore. The muscles twitch, the nerves fire. Something just jerks and it looks like they're still alive. And sometimes they are. So here's the rule. Don't wait for them to move again. Don't check for a pulse. If one drops in front of you, you finish it. Then you finish it again. Tip 4. Fire escapes are a death trap after 10 minutes. When you're panicked, you look up. It's instinct, I guess. Get above the chaos. Climb to where the monsters can't reach you. And in the first couple hours, yeah, it feels smart. Get to the roof. Take a breath. Watch it unfold from a safe distance. But let me tell you what happens after 10 minutes. They start piling. I learned that on 6th and Bellamy, behind an old apartment complex, tan brick, 4 stories tall. I was with this kid. Name was Marcus. 17, maybe 18. Hoodie, backpack, trembling hands. We didn't know each other, just happened to run the same direction. We ducked into the alley, no way out the far end. Dumpsters, locked gate. So we went up the fire escape, rusted metal, bolted into the wall like it might fall any second. But we climbed it, got to the 3rd floor landing. From up there, the street looked quiet, almost peaceful. And then Marcus sneezed. Not loud, just a little, barely audible, but it didn't matter. Something in the alley below growled, wet and low. Then another, then dozens. I looked down and saw them, pouring into the alley like floodwater. They were clawing at each other, at the walls, at the air itself. Some of them rammed into the fire escape ladder and bounced off like dogs at a kennel. But they kept coming. And the worst part, they didn't give up. One of them caught the lip of the dumpster and hoisted itself half up. Another used a broken pallet like stairs. One slipped and pulled 3 more down with it, but they still didn't stop. Then they started stacking. Not like they were planning it. They just couldn't stop moving. One ran into the others and fell. The next tripped over that one, again and again. And eventually, there was just this pulsing mound of bodies beneath us, writhing, clawing, snapping. Closer to the landing with every second. We made it to the roof just before the top one grabbed Marcus's shoe. He kicked it off, lost the whole thing, just ran barefoot across gravel and broken glass, howling. I pulled him behind an old AC unit, and we stayed there for hours, shivering, listening to them howl and slam and scratch below. It doesn't matter if they can't climb. They don't need to. They'll throw themselves at the wall until the pile gets high enough to reach you. So here's the rule. Fire escapes buy you time. That's it. If you don't have a way off the other side, another building, another stairwell, a damn helicopter, you're boxed in. And once they're underneath you, you'll be trapped like bait on a hook. 10 minutes, that's your window. After that, you're not higher, you're just surrounded. Tip 5. Don't bother with barricades unless you can run. I used to think I just needed 4 walls and a deadbolt. Somewhere quiet, somewhere dark, somewhere I could breathe. But the thing about hiding, it only works if you've got a way out. I found this little apartment during hour 4. It was above a tailor shop, one of those ancient downtown buildings with narrow stairwells and sagging floors. The front door was already cracked open when I got there. Blood on the doorknob, but no bodies. I took that as a win. First thing I did was push the fridge in front of the door. Took me 15 minutes and half a hernia. Then I shoved the couch behind it, tipped over a bookcase, grabbed a hammer and nailed shut the windows. I remember thinking I was being smart, tactical, like I'd finally gotten ahead of it. I even boiled water on a gas stove and made instant noodles. Sat there eating, listening to the wind outside, pretending I'd done something right. Then the banging started. Not on the front door, not at first. The sound came from the floorboards. I don't know how they got into the tailor shop below. Maybe through the alley. Maybe they followed my scent. Hell if I know. But they were underneath me, and they were hungry. I felt the vibrations before I heard the full impact. Then another, then another. Every slam knocked dust loose from the ceiling light. Every blow shook the couch I was hiding behind. They didn't stop. I stayed there for 2 hours, just listening. At one point, I heard a crack. Wood, I think, maybe support beams, and I realized the truth. They weren't trying to get in through the door. They were trying to collapse the entire goddamn floor. And I had no way out. I'd blocked the front, nailed the windows shut, jammed the stairwell with furniture. I was safe from them, sure. But now I was trapped with myself. By hour 6, the smell started coming through the vents. By hour 7, they were halfway up the stairs, climbing over the fridge I moved so proudly. You ever try to move a full-size couch while panicking and sweating through your shirt? I nearly passed out. I got out by the skin of my teeth, kicked out a window, and dropped onto a dumpster lid below. Nearly broke my back, but it was better than what they'd have done to me if they'd gotten through. So here's what I learned. Barricades are stall tactics, not solutions. If you're gonna block a door, you'd better have another one. If you're gonna hole up, you'd better already know your exit, because they won't stop. And when they come through that wall, you won't have time to move the furniture. You're not building a safe house. You're building a coffin. Tip 6. Loot the pharmacy first, then the liquor store. You're gonna be tempted to look for guns first. Bullets, blades, anything that makes you feel tougher than you are. But here's the truth. You won't die because you didn't shoot fast enough. You'll die because you got sick, or tired, or too damn slow. That's why the first place you hit isn't the gun shop, it's the pharmacy. I found mine during hour 8. Corner of Pike and Dawson, gas station on one side, liquor store on the other, little strip mall pharmacy wedged in between. Half the windows already smashed, but the metal shutter hadn't fully dropped. I crawled in through a broken side panel, tore my jacket on the frame. Didn't matter. Inside, it looked like a bomb had gone off. Shelves overturned, pills everywhere, some bottles empty, some cracked open and spilling. It was hard to think straight. Everything smelled like rubbing alcohol and copper. But I filled my pack. Not just painkillers, though I took those too. I grabbed everything that made sense. Antibiotics, bandages, gauze, inhalers, EpiPens, eye drops, stuff I didn't even know how to use, stuff I thought I'd trade later. Then I went next door, to the liquor store. Why? Because 2 things are guaranteed in an outbreak: infection and pain, and nothing kills either like alcohol. I'm not talking about getting drunk. That'll get you eaten faster than anything. I'm talking about cleaning wounds, sterilizing gear, wiping blood off your hands before it gets in your eyes. Also, people trade for booze, desperate people, people with working vehicles, people with keys. I saw it myself. Guy with a dislocated shoulder and a bottle of vodka got driven out of the city in the back of a plumber's van. Traded half the bottle for the ride. traded the other half to keep the guy from dumping him at the off-ramp. And yeah, I took a few sips too, after I saw what was left of the guy behind the pharmacy counter, still wearing his name badge. Richard, throat torn out, clutching a bottle of Tylenol like it might save him. So here's the lesson. Bullets run out. Pills don't. Knives break. Whiskey doesn't. Grab what keeps your body moving. Grab what keeps infection out. Then grab something to help you forget. Because eventually, you'll want to. Tip 7. Never follow screams. Always follow smoke. Instinct will kill you. That's the truth no one wants to hear. Your gut tells you to help, to rush toward the screaming, to check if someone's hurt or scared or trapped. But here's what you need to burn into your brain. If someone's screaming, they're already dying. It took me 3 mistakes to learn that. 3 people I tried to save. 3 people I watched get torn in half while I stood there, frozen. The first was a woman screaming in the back of a parking garage. I thought maybe she was being chased. Maybe she had a few seconds left and just needed a hand up. By the time I found her, her legs were already gone. She was still conscious, still screaming. She begged me not to leave her. I didn't. Not until I saw 3 more crawling out from under the SUV beside us. Skinless, twitching, fast. I ran. I don't know how long she lasted, but I still hear her voice when it gets too quiet. The second was a man on a rooftop, yelling for help, waving a flare, shirtless, bleeding from his ribs. I thought, he made it, he got high, I can help him down. Then the flare went out, and I realized he hadn't been waving for rescue. He was trying to keep them back. He lit himself on fire 2 minutes later. The third one wasn't human anymore. Not really. Cried like a toddler, curled up in a corner. When I got close, it looked up and screamed directly into my face. That high-pitched, shrieking sound that shakes your teeth. It wasn't crying. It was calling. More came, a dozen, maybe more. All I saw were hands and teeth. I ran. Again. After that, I stopped chasing voices. I started chasing fire. Because here's the thing, screams mean death. But smoke might mean life. A chimney, a campfire, a building still holding on. Smoke means fire, and fire means someone is trying to survive. Cook, clean, signal, burn, doesn't matter. Fire means intention. Screams mean panic. And in the apocalypse, panic is the last sound a person makes. So if you hear someone screaming in the distance, I'm sorry. Say a prayer if that's your thing, but keep walking. And if you see smoke, follow it carefully, quietly, slowly, because if you find people who've made it that far, they're either your salvation or they're worse than the dead. Tip 8. Dead ends are dead ends. There's a reason rats chew their own legs off when they get cornered, because once you realize there's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and nothing coming to save you, you either fight or you die screaming. For me, it was a loading dock. Hour 9. I remember because the sun was low, and the whole damn alley looked like it had been painted orange with dried blood. I was running, not proud of it. I'd made noise, bad noise, broke a window trying to cut through a warehouse shortcut, and about 5 of them heard it, maybe more. Doesn't take a whole horde to end you, just one that's close enough and hungry. I saw a delivery entrance propped open with a broken broomstick and figured that was divine intervention. Slid through it and pulled the door shut behind me. Darkness, total pitch, no time to think, just that horrible sucking sound of feet dragging through blood outside. So I barricaded it, rolled a metal cart in front, tipped a vending machine, jammed a mop into the handle just for good measure, told myself I was smart. Then I turned around, solid wall, shelves, empty boxes, no stairs, no back door, no windows, just one way in, and 5 of them pounding on it. I started sweating so hard I couldn't grip the crowbar, slipped out of my hand and clanged on the tile. That's when they really started slamming. No rhythm, just rage. The vending machine shifted. The cart screeched sideways. I scanned the room like a cornered animal, looking for vents, crawl spaces, any crack big enough to squeeze through. There was nothing. I almost gave up, almost sat down and let it happen. But then I saw it, a dumbwaiter chute, 4 feet tall, just big enough. I yanked it open and threw myself inside, hit every side on the way down, landed in a pile of linens in the basement, dislocated my shoulder. Didn't matter. I was alive. Barely. So let me make this real simple. If you enter a space with only one way out, congratulations, you just found your grave. Don't trust doors that swing shut behind you. Don't go check basements or walk-in freezers or janitor closets unless you've already got 2 exits in your head. And if you have to hide in a dead end, make sure you've got something sharp. And be ready to use it on yourself before they get the chance. Because the dead don't knock, they tear. Tip 9. Use the infected to block the others. At some point, you stop thinking of them as people. You have to, because once you do that, you realize something important. They're tools, not in the way weapons are, not like guns or knives. I mean physically. Zombies don't think. They don't plan. They just move forward. Hard, fast, and stupid. And that makes them predictable. Predictable means exploitable. I figured that out around hour 10. I was trying to cut through the back end of a strip mall. Tight space, narrow hallways, one of those delivery corridors between stores you're not supposed to notice. Fluorescent lights flickering overhead, linoleum floor tacky with blood. There were 3 behind me, maybe more. I was limping, still favoring my shoulder from the dumbwaiter drop. Couldn't outrun them, not in a straight line. I started to panic. Then I saw the janitor's cart. Wheels busted, mop stuck in the side, but the bin was full of rags, and it was blocking the mouth of a side hallway, just wide enough for one to fit through at a time. So I grabbed the closest zombie by the collar, bloody hoodie, no jaw, and I shoved him in front of me. He didn't resist, didn't even react, just kept walking forward, grunting. When the others rounded the corner, he was already wedged in the hall, and that's when it clicked. They block each other, they stumble, trip, crawl. If you can funnel them into the right spot, doorways, stairwells, alley bottlenecks, you can buy yourself time. Not a lot, but enough. I've done it a dozen times since then. Kicked one down a stairwell and let the others pile on. Shoved a corpse halfway through a door so the others couldn't open it all the way. Even tossed a fresh kill into a narrow hallway just to slow down a group long enough to get across a parking lot. It's not pretty, it's not heroic, but it works, and I don't feel bad anymore, because they would have done worse to me. So if you've got no weapons, no bullets, and you're 5 seconds from being torn apart, throw something in their way, even if it's one of them. The infected don't know they're being used, but that doesn't mean you can't use them. Let them claw and snarl and trip over each other. Let them crush themselves in a hallway until their own bones break. You're not trying to win. You're just trying to get 5 seconds ahead. Tip 10. If you're the last one breathing, act like it. There's this moment. I hope to God you never feel it. But if you do, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's not panic. It's not fear. It's not even grief. It's when you look around and realize you're it. No voices, no backup, no survivors left to help you over the next fence. You're the only one breathing, and that breath's getting louder by the second. It happened to me around 11 o'clock, maybe later. I'd just gotten out of a 2-story house on Franklin that looked empty from the outside. It wasn't. 3 of them were inside. One had crawled into the laundry chute. Another was tangled in the curtain cords. The third was in the goddamn pantry, just waiting. I made it out. Barely. No weapons left. Backpack torn. Blood. Some mine, most not. Dripping from my fingertips. And the street outside, empty. Not the kind of empty that makes you hopeful. The kind that makes you aware. The birds were gone. No dogs barking. No helicopters. No gunshots in the distance. Just the soft sound of something chewing in a nearby garage. And I remember thinking, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm the last one on this block, this street, this city. That's when I stopped whispering, stopped waiting, stopped praying someone would pull up in a truck and say, "Get in." Because they're not coming. No one is. And once you accept that, you start to move different. You stop calling out names. You stop checking for survivors. You stop pausing at every damn window wondering if someone needs help. You start acting like a shadow, like a ghost, quiet, focused, efficient. I wrapped my shoes in a shredded bath towel so my footsteps wouldn't echo. Tied plastic bags over my arms so the blood wouldn't soak into my skin. Smeared dirt on my face to hide the reflection from glass. I moved like I was already dead. And I made it to hour 12, So here's the last thing I'll tell you. Hope is a noise, and noise gets you killed. You can light a candle for the others later. You can cry when the sun comes up. But right now, you need to move like no one's left. Because if there's still someone out there watching you, it's not a friend and it's not alive. 12 hours. That's all it's been. Feels longer. Feels like I've lived 1,000 lives, and none of them were mine. I don't know where I'm headed next. I don't even know what time it is. My phone's dead. My hands are shaking. There's dried blood in my hair and something under my fingernails that I'm not going to think too hard about. But I'm breathing, and that still means something. I think. I didn't give you these tips to scare you. If you're still listening, you're already scared. I gave them to you so you don't waste time learning the way I did, bleeding, limping, leaving people behind. You don't get to be a good person anymore. Not in this world. You just get to be a person, alive. And I hate to tell you this, but the first 12 hours, they're the easiest. Because you've still got adrenaline. You've still got denial. You've still got that little voice in your head saying, someone's coming. Give it another day. Another night without sleep. Another run-in with the infected that doesn't end clean. Another hallway full of corpses that smell almost familiar. Eventually, your body slows down. Your hands stop shaking. And that's when you realize you weren't meant to live like this. But you will, if you want to. So, if you're just now stepping outside, if the screaming just stopped in your building, if the city's gone still and you're thinking maybe now's the time to move, do it quiet, do it fast, and don't look back, because it's not about saving anyone. It's not about finding help. It's about staying alive long enough to figure out who's still human and who just looks like they are. Good luck out there. If you're still breathing, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe if you dare. There are plenty more nightmares waiting for you. And whatever you do, don't forget to ring the bell. It's the only way you'll hear the warnings in time.